All right, this is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online, U.S. history from 1877 to present. We're talking about the Clinton years. We've been looking at Unit 13, and we're talking about America from Nixon to Clinton, and today we're going to conclude with Clinton and his presidency. Now, we're going to find that William Jefferson Clinton was bringing a different flair to the White House, and he's going to have a decent presidency if you look at a few metrics. And what we're going to try to do is give you an idea of what some of the accomplishments and then some of the challenges that Clinton faces as President of the United States of America when he's elected in 1992. All right, the unit focus questions, we have 3 unit focus questions. We will not, of course, address today, but we will, of course, at the end of the unit, go through and answer those questions. What effect did the Nixon presidency have on America's public psyche? Why did conservatism become such an attractive political philosophy in the United States? And describe the effect of technology and scientific innovation on the increased globalization of the United States. We also have our vocabulary here. Go ahead and do what we always tell you to do. Take out your journals, write these terms down, define them yourself. And as we see them, we'll address them, of course, in the content as we go over it. What major issues did Clinton face during his first term in office as president? What major issues did Clinton face during his second term as president of the United States of America? These will serve as our lesson focus questions, and we will answer those at the conclusion of the lesson. Journal topic, go ahead and take out your journals and write down the following statement. Clinton inherited 40 million people without health insurance when he became president in 1992. Does the federal government bear any responsibility in making sure able-bodied Americans receive health care insurance? Go ahead and let us know what you think, and we'll tell you what we kind of think on the other side. I don't know if able-bodied, is what we need to concentrate on here. But a lot of people, seem to think that if you're able-bodied and you can work and you don't have anything wrong with you, of course, you should be able to provide for yourself. That is one of the tenets that this country was founded on, rugged individualism, taking care of oneself. But there are a lot of people who believe just the opposite of that. Well, they believe something adjacent to that. And they believe that if you help able-bodied people, of course, gain insurance, what it does, of course, is it cuts down on illness, of course, in the country. And what it does is that the government, by doing that and having a healthier population, we in their minds reduce the amount of strain that's placed on the government, of course, to provide hospital care and health care, of course, for those people. So it just really depends on what side of the political spectrum, of course, that you fall on. In a lot of developed nations throughout the rest of the world, we're going to find that they've taken on the responsibility, of course, of providing health care to their populations. The only difference is a lot of those nations, of course, don't have as many people as the United States of America, and just the sheer volume of numbers that we have, it would make it very difficult. But a lot of people seem to think that this is one of the things that we should pay some attention to, and we should maybe give a little bit more consideration. The Clinton years. In 1992, as we said, Clinton inherited America that was struggling economically. The major issue was the deficit and recession the nation experienced under Bush. Clinton's domestic agenda focused on the economy, the family, education, crime, and health care. Clinton raised taxes on the middle class and the wealthy and taxed energy to reduce the deficit. By the time he left office, the government was running with a surplus. And that means that we actually had more money in reserve than we had spent. Clinton failed to provide health care for all Americans, but was successful passing the Children's Health Insurance Plan, which we call CHIPS, for uninsured children. Clinton was also attacked gun control by getting the Brady Bill passed, which banned 19 different assault weapons and increased police funding. Clinton's presidency led to a rise in social and political advocacy groups, some created to oppose his domestic agenda and some, of course, to support his agenda. And it wouldn't surprise you that conservative advocacy like the Heritage Foundation opposed Planned Parenthood, opposed some of the things, of course, that the Clinton agenda, promoted. The contract with America, as created in 1994 by Republican Newt Gingrich during the midterm election when Clinton's popularity was at its lowest, but economically the country was improving. The message allowed Republicans to gain control of both houses of Congress. Clinton's economic issues allowed him to win the election in 1996 by defeating Bob Dole. CHIPS and the $500 tax credit was passed early in Clinton's second term. Despite Clinton's successful domestic agenda, he was impeached because of an affair with the White House intern, Monica Lewinsky, and because of whitewater accusations resulting from his time as governor of Arkansas. Kenneth Starr was appointed special counsel to investigate and concluded that there was no evidence of wrongdoing in Whitewater, but Clinton committed perjury and obstructed justice, and the Senate fell short with impeachment vote on both charges. So Clinton is attacked, and he's attacked and with a lot of people and with good reason. Not for the affair itself in terms of looking at what happens, of course, with the intern, but in terms of his cover-up or his denying that something had happened, of course, between them. So, and that was one of the bases for the grounds of impeachment. You know, he is not found guilty, and because basically the vote in the Senate went along party lines and there wasn't enough, a majority vote to remove him. Senator Bob Dole was a Republican candidate for president in the 1996 election. The contract with America was Newt Gingrich, who was the Speaker of House in the 1994 midterm elections, which gave Republicans control of House, and he became, of course, the Speaker of the House. Special counsel who investigated Clinton's involvement in the Whitewater scandal and Lewinsky affair was Kenneth Starr. Clinton's foreign policy. Clinton reluctantly used force to end regional disputes. He used NATO and the United Nations to advance American goals in the Balkans. Clinton's efforts ended ethnic cleansing in Bosnia-Herzegovina and led the way for the Dayton Accords. Clinton also utilized NATO to stop Serbian violence against the Albanians in Kosovo. NATO violence forced Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic to end violence in Kosovo. Clinton's greatest success was getting the first direct peace agreement with leaders from Israel, with Yitzhak Rabin, and the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, with Yasser Arafat. During the Declaration of Principles, the plan was that emerged, which would create a homeland for the Palestinians. The assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Rabin by a right-wing Israeli radical effectively ended the peace effort. So he's the first one to get both of them to the table. Then to show you how, or tell you how contentious it was, there was a huge debate about whether or not the leader of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin, would even shake the hand of the leader of the PLO, Yasser Arafat. And when they shake hands during this particular Declaration of Principles, it is a huge deal in politics, or American politics. And here you see that iconic handshake between the two with the Declaration of Principles. The signing of the Dayton Accords. This is in some of the problems that we have, of course, in the old area of Yugoslavia. On the left, you have Slobodan Milosevic, who is the leader of Serbia. You have Franjo Tuđman, who is the leader of Croatia. Elijah Izetbegovic, who's from Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then you have Felipe Gonzalez. And this is a who's who of American and world leaders who are present at this signing of these accords in Dayton, Ohio. So you have Felipe Gonzalez from Spain, Bill Clinton, of course, from the United States. You have Jacques Chirac from France, Helmut Kohl from Germany. You have John Major from the Soviet Union, and Viktor Chermyrdin, who was at that time, the leader of the Soviet Union. Or, excuse me, of Russia, because there is no more Soviet Union, it's the Russian Federation at that time. The Dayton Accords mapped, and this is what they agreed on. All this area that you see right here, Serbia, so Serbia would get control of all this area, of course, in pink. The yellow area right here would go over to Croatia, and everything in gray here would be Muslim control in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Bill Clinton was reluctant to commit American troops to fight in the Balkans to prevent Bosnian Serbs from wiping out Muslims. And this is going to be a little bit of a thing for Clinton. Now, he does intervene in Bosnia-Herzegovina, but he was criticized heavily for not getting involved in the genocide that was happening in Rwanda. So as kind of I guess a knee-jerk kind of reaction in terms of looking at his failure to involve himself, of course, in the affairs of what happens with Rwanda and the genocide there, he does, start, to exert American influence in Bosnia-Herzegovina. At this time, what we want you to do, of course, is to access the video in the lesson description. Upon viewing the video, complete the activities which accompany the video and convert your work into a PDF, turn it into your teacher for a grade. Good luck and enjoy the video. Once again, It's important to understand that when we're talking about this video, you see the efforts that the United States of America and NATO make, of course, to end the violence, of course, that happens in the Balkans. And we're going to find that just the opposite happens, of course, when we see a similar situation play out in Rwanda. And that's one of the criticisms that the Clinton administration will face, that in Africa and Rwanda, no one did anything to stop, the Hutu violence against the Tutsis. So we're going to find that, this kind of gives you a real good idea in terms of what we did do and what we could have done had we chosen to do the same thing in Rwanda. All right, we have two lesson focused questions that we'll address. What major issues did Clinton face during his first term as president? And what major issues did Clinton face during his second term as president of the United States? The first question, the major issues that he faced during the first term: the economy, reducing the deficit and lowering inflation; health care reform, universal health care, which he didn't get done, did pass CHIPS though; reducing crime, instituting common sense, gun control. Those are some of the things that he did do. The major failure though is going to be universal health care that he puts his wife, First Lady Hillary Clinton, in charge of, and that never really gets done. What major issues did Clinton face during his second term as president of the United States? The affair with Monica Lewinsky led to the impeachment over charges of perjury. Conservative advocacy groups like NRA, because of his support for gun control; the Heritage Foundation, Americans for Tax Reform, challenge his policies and his moral fitness to be president. So not only are they attacking his policy, but these conservative groups, especially the moral majority and the Christian right, attack his fitness to be president of the United States of America, to be leader of the United States of America. How can you be leader of the United States of America in their mind and do some of the things that he's done in office? That's what the Republican Party believed in. End lesson 10. Hope you got some insights in terms of looking at the Clinton administration, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to find that Clinton becomes a very consequential president. He's able to do something that president hasn't done in the latter half of the 20th century, and that's, of course, to reduce the deficit. So Clinton is a consequential president for the things that he's able to get done. Never mind the fact that he did have some missteps, but he still was a consequential president. We hope you enjoyed our lesson on William Jefferson Clinton, affectionately known as Bill Clinton. But remember, we always tell you, this is just, one man telling you something. Go ahead and do your own research, make up your own mind, draw your own conclusions. And with that, this is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online, U.S. History from 1877 to present, and we'll see you next time.